Good morning, Internet. It is a wonderful Sunday, and we are so happy to record our next episode in our first season. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Terry De Vos, and let me hand over to him to do a short introduction. Terry, all yours.
Hi, I'm Thierry De Vos, nominated head judge of Bully Assure. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Theo.
Fantastic. As you guys can hear, we are talking about judging, and we are talking to our newly appointed head judge. And as per an introduction, Terry's been with Bully Assure for a number of years now. He's been involved in the community. He's been involved with Bully Assure, and he's a really focused gentleman. He's when he does something, he really goes overboard, but in a good way. And I think when we, as the board of Bully Assure, looked at our judging program and then had to appoint early on, we wanted to do it early on, rather sooner than later, to appoint a head judge so that we can develop a judging program that speaks to the ethos of Bully Assure, to develop a judging program that we viewed as strategic to Bully Assure. And so when we considered everybody that has been appointed as judges, and we knew the history of Terry, it was quite an easy decision for us as a board to appoint Terry, but Terry took his time, which we appreciate, and he was really contemplating what we put on the table to him. And for us, that's a fantastic sign. So we are very happy to have him on board as our head judge. So Terry, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Just in general terms, what do you do? Where do you come from?
Theo, I come from the Eastern Cape, originally from Grahamstown, and then from there moved to Port Elizabeth, where I did most of my growing up. Um, around around the time growing up, I've been introduced to dogs. Grew up with an uncle that was a breeder, German Shepherd breeder at the time. So my passion for dogs, for animals and dogs in particular, came from a very, very young age. Um, so yeah, I owned my first dog at the age of 6 years old.
Wow, wow. Yeah, so that's a long time. So you've been around dogs for a very, very long time then.
My whole life basically is.
Right. And it was first German Shepherds, and then were you involved with any other breeds?
So that is where my my passion developed for dogs. Um, breeding, obviously, only later in my life I started breeding. Um, I personally started breeding dogs at around the year 2000.
All right.
The
Wow.
first breed of choice was Staffies. I bred Staffies for a number of years. And then from there, I moved over to the pit bulls,
Okay.
which I bred for approximately 12 years, with
Wow.
my last litter very, very recently. I think 2 years ago, I had my last pit bull litter, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, since then, I've moved over to the American Bully breed.
Right. And I mean, on that point, and this is sort of one of the questions as well, but what got you into the American Bully? Can you remember, how you got first introduced to the American Bully and then you decided to get into it?
So interest sparked in the American Bully when I was doing some research on, well, I wanted to bring in pit bulls from the States. And then I came across this dog that was like an exaggerated pit bull.
Right.
And that really sparked my interest. And that's when I started doing some research on the breed itself, because at that time, the American Bully was still referred to as a pit bull by
Mm.
quite a number of breeders in the States as well. Um, but doing further digging and obviously knowing a pit bull and the temperament that they have and also the build and the look of the pit bull, the overall conformation of the pit bull, this definitely was no pit bull. So it really sparked my interest. And as I was doing the research on this breed, um, I told myself I must have one, I must get one. And
Yeah.
then I obviously started doing research into South African breeders, which breeders in South Africa actually does have this breed. Um, and at that point in time, there was very few breeders around. So yeah, what sparked my interest mainly on on the research of the dog, sorry, was the nature, the gentle nature that I learned about, and then the temperament, which was big ups for me. I mean, I at the time I also had two small kids, so I needed a breed that was sound in temperament, a lot less relaxed, and the definition of the American Bully gave that and brought that forward for me. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, having small kids, it was the ideal dog to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very good point, right? And that's the big, one of the big differences between the pit bulls and the American Bully is the fact that it's a true companion dog, the American Bully, versus the pit bull is much more of a working dog. And if you don't have,
Correct.
yeah, if you don't have that sort of, let's call it, regime in your house to make sure they get worked well, then of course you might run into potential issues. Whereas American Bully, they're loyal, but they're also really a companion, and they sometimes I've heard this phrase that sometimes they even become a little bit of a couch potato as well, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
They
amazing. I mean, it's so many people that we speak to about the American Bully when they first got in contact with the bully. They were so surprised, because I think you read up and you watch videos and you think, wow, this is really great, but I need to experience it for myself. And your first bully that you bought, from who did you buy, and what was your first impressions when you got your hands on the bully?
So my first American Bully that I bought, um, I was, oh, I've got a friend. He was also in the pit bull scene. Terrence. He had an American Bully breeding that he
Yeah,
done, but it went with a lot of contemplating. As we know that the price of the American Bully is quite high.
mm,
So I watched the dogs, I watched the breedings. Um, I looked at this dog at sevens. The color struck me. I like a pitch black dog, so he had a nice glossy black pup, nice thick pup. And then yeah, so that's the first American Bully that I bought, and that dog's name was Beast.
oh wow, okay. And the first time you interacted with with your first American Bully, what did you think?
When I brought the dog home, the dog was no longer mine, out of all honesty. It crept into the heart, regardless of the amount of other dogs that was in the yard. It crept
Yeah.
into the heart of my kids. Um, Basically, my son, he took full ownership of that dog, and they had a bond
Oh
ever
wow.
since.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. I remember a similar experience, not with a bully though, but my brother had an American Yorkie, and it was interesting because it was his dog. But when the dog saw me, it just didn't leave my side. So eventually, I ended up with the dog, and I had it for about 13 years thereafter.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I know that feeling all too well. You go and invest in this dog for yourself and just for this animal to start liking somebody else.
at least it's your son, eh?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one, at least. So, going on to more of the serious stuff, I think judging, as I've mentioned in the intro, is such an important part of what we see in the future for the American Bully. But just give us a sort of a snapshot view, if you will, about your judge journey so far, and what do you view as important when you look at a dog to judge a dog?
All right, so from judging, look, prior to joining the program, I've already started aligning myself with the ABKC standard, doing extensive research, and then obviously
Mm.
not just ABKC, but any other material I could find. But using the ABKC as the foundation of what I set out to empower myself with.
Right.
Um, so after my first experience of judging, that was in the Eastern Cape at the PE show in May. A lot of lessons was learned because yeah, I've got all this theoretical knowledge on the
Mm.
one side and finally putting it into practical, and that's when you start seeing the difference from when you handling a dog and when you showing that dog
Mm.
versus what from the other side, what the
Right.
judge actually looks at.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times that we often miss when we're in the show ring
Yeah.
that we don't know what the dog next to us has. We can't see everything that the dog. We only focused on what we have in front of us as our dog that we showing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
from the judge's experiences, it's really put me on the other side of the table. And from going through the training with Bully Ashua, that also basically put forward a whole different view of how I look at the dog. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, um, if I can, like, from my personal experiences and how I'm training myself to go forward. First and foremost, we judging according to a breed standard, and that's a EBKC breed standard
Mm.
that was set out. Okay. The emphasis there would be looking at the breed type, the balance, the soundness, and most importantly for me also is the temperament.
Right.
For me, the best American Bully should be um, a powerful dog, but also athletic. It must be able to move.
Yeah.
It must be
Yeah.
confident and functional.
Mm.
Um, the key is balancing the breed type
Yeah.
um, with the soundness of the animal, if I can put it that way. So it's basically the distinct American Bully
Mm.
together with the proportional structure correctness of the dog.
Right. Right.
And health
Exactly.
obviously plays a very big role in that.
Yeah. Very, very much so. And I think that's such an important part of what we're doing for the American Bully is to judge the dogs according to that standard, according to their movement, to their functionality, to their health, right? And I think those things are all a package. It's not about only muscles. It's not only about the look. It's not only about the color. It's not only about, one aspect. One aspect might, from just a visual assessment, might look better than another dog, but it's about everything, right? It's about the whole package.
Total packages.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that brings us to the focus point still. And obviously, as individuals, we all have our preferences.
Yeah.
But when you're stepping into a judging role, your focus points would always be breed type in balance and proportion,
Mm,
headpiece, top line, the overall
right.
structure of the dog, the movement, the temperament, the condition of the dog, and that, and then also how that dog is being presented to you. So, like you said, it's that full package.
Right. Right. Absolutely. You mentioned something a while ago that I think is so important is that you've spent a lot of time on gaining theoretical experience, right? So you've really expanded your knowledge with the ABKC standards, but you've also, I know, you've put a binder together on all the research that you've done
I
on the
did this.
American Bully, and that's
Yeah,
fantastic. But there's nothing like taking all that knowledge and then applying it in the ring, right? Because you're dealing with a real live environment. And
correct.
I remember I was watching you guys, you three, yourself, Christo, and Ben. And just for clarity, no, Ben is not the MC only. He's an MC and a judge. He wrote his exams. He's part of the judging program. He's not an
Yeah,
MC.
yeah.
I see some people make that comment, and of course I can understand they maybe got confused, but he is
Yeah.
formally a judge. He's part of the judging
That's
panel. He's wrote his exams, but just to come back to that experience, it was really fantastic to see the three of you really contemplating, especially when we got to the best dog in show time. That was the last and of course the pinnacle of each show. And you guys took a huge amount of time and a lot of deliberation. And it showed us, how serious you all were taking this. And that was really great. But the point I want to make is the only way we improve our local judges, apart from all the theory, right, and safe from sending them, to the US, is to give them the exposure in South Africa to deal with the shows, and you're gonna get better and better by the fact that you judge more and you judge different dogs. And I think that's what we're hoping for. That's why with the show coming up in Cape Town, the end of September, you flying down there to be a judge with the call, right?
that's
Call
awesome.
Frank.
I can't wait for that one, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And Cole, just coincidentally, for our listeners that don't know, Cole Frank is another one of our Bully Assured judges. He's based in Cape Town. And it will be, I think, his first show to judge, right? And that's why
That's
it's
right.
also so important to be with you, because I think you bring a little bit more knowledge, with all due respect. But I mean, you've done a huge amount of studying on this. And now you have one under the belt, which this will be the second one. But ultimately, that's the only way you improve, right? I mean, you agree with that statement.
I do. So with anything, if you start getting your learner's license to drive, you go through the theory, and then thereafter, once you
Yeah.
start driving, it's a practical. You only get better the more you do it.
Okay.
Same with judging. I picked up mistakes that I've made in the ring in PE.
Yeah.
But not mistakes, but if I can put it, personal things that I've picked up that I should have or could have implemented but didn't.
Mm.
So obviously, with every time that we do it, we just get a bit better and better at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, and we have full faith in you guys. You take it very serious, and you're really passionate about the breed as well, which is for us an important part. And you have a high level of integrity, very high, and that's crucial, right? In the game we are in, and coming back to your appointment, that was one of the things we looked at is integrity, and it sounds like such a cliche, but it's not. It's so important. And especially when you judge, it's about integrity, and integrity means really looking at the breed standard, really looking at that full package we were speaking about earlier, and then applying that to what you're seeing in front of you. Not because this guy's my buddy or I know this guy or anything. It's about just looking at the dog and applying, the standards, applying the knowledge.
that's right, though. So the dog in front of you is what you're looking at. The not the handler, not the lineage of that dog, but that exact dog.
Yeah.
So we always need to look at what we have in front of us. Blocking out the noise is the biggest thing. Blocking out the noise from the commentators, blocking out the noise from the handlers, and then obviously everything that you've come to know and learn by what you see on social media. These dogs getting punted, these dogs not getting punted. All that has to fall away, and you
Right.
only have to look and visualize what is right there in front of you. The dog in its own merits. So that is what we look at. And that's why one of the things going forward as a head judge, that is something that I'm going to enforce strictly going forward in the show ring, is that we will select the best version of the breed standard that is in the ring on the day,
Mm.
so that we ensure that any new breeders, even just enthusiasts, can see what the breed standard should be.
Mm.
And hopefully, in that fashion, we can guide the breeders into the direct direction of the breed standard as set
Mm,
by the ABKC.
right.
Um, the intention with being strict is to enforce that we all push to that standard
Mm,
and that we can start creating better dogs much faster
right. Yeah,
to
I think
achieve our end goal at the end of the day.
yeah, that's such an important connection because that's exactly what the confirmation shows are about, is to showcase the best in the breed standard, the best versions of American bullies that we can find in South Africa. And applying, those strict rules of judging is crucial to also educate the breeders and especially the newbies that listen, we're strict about this because we want the right version of American Bully, the one that applies or complies with the standards. But there's another element to that that's really important, and that's about when we do reach out into the community, the general community, not the bully community, but into the general community, we need to be able to say with certainty, this is an American bully and this is a proper American bully. If we can't
That's
do it,
right.
then
That's
what can we say to the community?
100%. 100%.
Talking about the future, and you've touched on it just shortly now, but talk about the future. What's your vision for as head judge? What is the vision that you have? How do you apply that leadership role that you have into the future of the American Bullies?
Uh, so for me, it's creating public awareness. Currently, our breed is as a status symbol, if I can call it that way.
Mm,
So for me, creating public awareness on the American bully, and that is together with status symbol, we bring in the family companion as well. Um, it's basically what we're looking at or what I'm personally looking at achieving is to shift the public's perception away from the power breed
mm,
stigma that by consistently showcasing the good temperaments, the social involvement that the dogs does have with its human, and then the obedience. This should give the public the what's the best word to describe it? Just the satisfaction in their
mm.
hearts to know that when they purchase or procure an American bully, that this is what they're gonna get. They're gonna get a family companion, and not just this dog that looks all buff, but
Yeah,
they really gonna have a real addition to their family. One of the things that you said earlier about the couch potato, those are just one of the funny things that this breed does.
yeah,
They have the weirdest personalities, all different, but we need to pull the public into understanding our breed and not just seeing them as a pit bull.
mm,
Take that fear out of them and reassure them.
mm,
Standing together in South Africa, Bully Assure, and then obviously the bully breeders of South Africa. We can use social platforms where we interviewing our clients.
mm.
We can post this in the local newspapers, like with what Bully Assure has done with the what was that
Farmers
article in
Weekly.
Farmers
Yeah,
Weekly,
yeah,
that one. And we can start telling real owner stories. And real owner stories, that's the feedback that we get from our clients that we
right.
sell these awesome animals to.
Yeah,
Um, the clients can attest to the obedience, the
right.
qualities, the traits, the temperaments.
Yeah.
Us as breeders, we can tell that to our clients, but the clients having the dogs, they're the ones that's actually embracing that,
Mm.
and
Good
they
point.
share much more. So we, if we can start putting that out to the public more,
Mm.
um, and like pictures of the dogs playing with kids, therapy visits. I mean, there's a lot of kids that's struggling when they get in touch with dogs. Even if you're just walking in a park or whatever, you can see how the child embraces with a dog, and this dog just has the softest temperament. Um,
Yeah.
So if we can put out more positive content as opposed to just stacking off, and I've got nothing against just stacking
Mm,
off pictures, but if we can put out more positive content
mm.
besides just our stacking off pictures, then I think we will really be able to give the American bully its recognition and its flowers in terms of changing the public's perception in a
Mm.
positive manner.
Yeah, and then you're right, and then this is something that we've worked on now for a while, is to look at campaigns where we can educate, firstly, the public out there that this is not a pit bull, not even close.
Yeah.
We are doing that through, of course, the news articles or the magazine articles, but we're also doing it through our blog post. Um, but also, I think judging is such an important part of that, because when you talk about, when I judge, I look at the temperament of the dog. You're thinking about the future of an American bully that's in many, many more homes in South Africa, right? And I think that's the incredible link that we should always bring back to the ring. Yeah, the dog can look very powerful, and sometimes these animals are just amazing. You look at them and how they're built and they're structured. It's just incredible. But fundamentally, they were bred from the 1980s, and they got their lines fixed by late 90s, 1990s. It was for a companion dog, to get the best of a really strong, loyal dog, but a companion dog, right? And I think this is,
Right.
but I love what you say, and I think this is such a good idea about bringing the owner stories into the limelight. That's a really good idea. Um, in closing, just really, what advice can you give? I think the bully community in general, but also new breeders.
So for me, it's there's another, as we know of the Bubs program. There's
Mm,
something that Bubs started, and it's something that's very close to my heart, and that's the health testing behind these dogs.
mm,
I believe that from our side we should start normalizing the publishing of the health results of these dogs, the hips, elbows, hearts, skin.
yeah.
And if we can make this a requirement for the breeding, um, that would also assist with the recognition and also give customers or clients or
Mm,
families that peace of mind. It also would separate the authentic breeders in South Africa from the backyard breeders. And no offense to anybody, but backyard
mm.
breeders is a real thing. We've seen it.
Right.
Um, so if we can do that, and then also from breedings or your litters, if we can look at channeling correct or extracting breeding stock from pets only, and we try and practice having more pets out there and only selecting the best to
Mm,
work with in order to elevate the programs as well as the next person's program and pushing out the breed forward based on the standard. That is something that we also need to look at.
yeah,
Putting
absolutely.
temperament first,
Mm,
um, that is something that I'm really big on. That we stop. Yes, I've got no um I don't have anything against exaggerated features, the
mm,
big heads, the bulk and all that. But if we can look at health first,
mm.
it's pointless we're chasing head size and bulk, and then we're sitting with a dog that's unstable. They look impressive, but
Mm. They can't move.
they
Yeah.
can't move, they
Mm,
can't play with the kids, they're not functional,
yeah.
and then they're struggling with breathing. So if we can focus more on the health as well, I think that getting serious about health in our breed, that would also give us a much longer term with a dog. I
Mm,
mean, if you have a dog or you own an American bully, you should know that there's certain things that American bullies can't do, or that your specific American bully can't do.
yeah. True.
That is being some of the dogs can be out in the sun and they've got no issues with it. They can be in extreme heat and then they don't have that much issue with it if they're not in direct sunlight.
Right.
But then there's others that they can't make it at all.
Yeah, and I think
So
that opens up the thing that we should educate, of course, the public, but the breeders also have a responsibility to educate their new clients, right?
that's right.
And I think that you mentioned something that the health testing is definitely one, but these information packets that we need to put together as well, so that we can help the breeders give the right information to the new owners is very important because as much effort as you put into it, if the new owner is not properly educated about the dog, then they might do things and then come back later and say they are disillusioned about the breed. So we should really put in that effort. We are basically out of time, but thank you so much. It's really insightful to have this conversation with you and for you to share with the public out there your vision, for the breed. And I love it that you talk so much about the temperament and the health of the dog because it's part and parcel of the whole package. But thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Theo.
All right.
Thank you for giving me a shout. We'll
Perfect.
speak soon. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
We'll chat soon.
Yes,
Cheers, man.
bye.